Yeah, what's up everybody? My name is George. I'm with the Party Liberation Foundation, and this is the second episode of the foundation, the virtual foundation, where we give lessons about how to do stuff. There's a bunch more coming up. Just a quick shout, I'll bring this up again, but you can see the future dates every other Wednesday at 7 o'clock. With a few times that might be a little different or off the Wednesday cusp too. We're doing our best to fit as many folks that want to get out there and teach what they know and share. And we're happy to provide that. So if you also want to do that, definitely reach out and be a part of that. But today, friends, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to creating content. Hey Hectorfire, good to see you. It's good to something. I've created a lot of content over the last few years. I actually left my job of 10 years at Guitar Center, being a pro audio specialist 3 years ago, and coming October, and I've just been having a blast pursuing my dreams, being a content producer. And the cool thing about creating content, if you have a background as a musician or an artist in general, you know, we're used to creating, we're used to producing, but being able to do it in this virtual medium can be really fulfilling and a lot of fun to be able to share on a global platform. So a quick note is that right when COVID hit, I spent like 60 hours locking myself up in my studio and creating a 5-video course on how to create content. And that is like the real wide angle lens for everybody from all walks, whether advanced or beginner. And I'm gonna touch on a lot of that stuff quickly in this one, but it is something that exists, and it's behind my Patreon wall for my content creation company, because I am an entrepreneur that lives on my skills, by my bootstraps, if you will. But a quick shout, but you guys I'm really hoping that in this session, because I've done a lot of covering, I even have like a walkthrough guide on like how to use the software that I'm gonna show you, that might be more beneficial to our time we got like an hour for you to check that out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys just right to the meat and potatoes. I'm gonna tell you what my favorite stuff is, basically. We're gonna kind of deconstruct and go back to what is the basics of like how it all comes, especially if you ask questions about a particular thing, audio, recording, live, video, computers, whatever. But in general, I want to get right to it and tell you just like, if I was going to pass on, how do you go from now to streaming? You're going to do it from doing what I'm going to tell you right off the gate. As a brief holler out, if you don't know me, George, I've been hanging out with the Party Liberation Front for years now, since most of all my adult life, and that's where I've hit the stage for some of the most awesome moments playing with my friends and family. Let's see, I got some examples here to kind of show you what's going down. So a lot of my life has been audio freak, well before I did what I'm doing now. And I have a lot of equipment that's came my way, and we can talk about some of this equipment I use for streaming. But you know, there's a lot to be discussed. But I learned a lot about audio, and that really helped me out when it came to doing this. It kind of took one part of the equation as far as making content virtually. Here's a look at my studio as I was teaching people how to DJ and using a green screen. Green screens are something I definitely want to talk about in this episode, as I think it's an extremely powerful tool. And here's a look at, if you guys have seen the virtual cyber circuses that we have done as PLF. The last couple have been a milestone for me, as I took my knowledge that I've done as a gamer, creating content as a gamer, and I applied it to creating a cool virtual presentation. And that looks, thought I had that ready. Let's see. So then we had what I've been doing is this. Here I am. This is where I am right now. If you hear some background noise, people are literally playing games around me right now. And this is my studio in the game store that I deconstruct and bring to my house to do the cyber circus. And you can see this truss rig that I'll be talking about, that I've used it to hold my lighting. Lighting is very important to be able to get a good green screen and just a good video quality. There's a green screen dice tray that I'm going to show you guys more of here in a moment. And that is what I took back home. And you can see what I was able to do with that amount of cameras. And this is basically what it looks like inside my house when I do the presentation that we do for First Friday. So you can do a lot with a green screen, because if you've seen those videos, you'll know that it is a lot cooler than just those pictures look. When you do a green screen, you can do all kinds of stuff from National Geographic, and I love watching the ocean and like nature shots behind you. Or we've done awesome events where we've had multiple fire spinners and who've been super awesome and joined us live while we've DJ'd and presented them behind us on a green screen. And that felt so great. And that was probably the milestone part of it, was we never tried anything like that, and having that collaborative effect between music and performing artists was a great feeling, and we can definitely talk about that. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, I'm going to kind of freeform, and I have a bunch of visual aids to show you as we go. But let's get into that meat and potatoes that I talked about. Feel free to jump in with questions at any time. I see you guys out there, see about 11 of you out there, and I'll show you how I know there's like 11 of you out there right now. Because if you are aware, right now we're on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. We're actually on 2 different Facebooks, the Party Liberation Front and the Party Liberation Foundation. How do we go to all those places? I think that multi-streaming has been revolutionary for me. For the first few years, I was going to one source, Twitch or YouTube. You had to make a choice. And as a DJ, Facebook will shut you down pretty quick. They have little robots in there that'll quickly tell you, hey, that music's not license free. Get it out of here. Well, this is how we do it. So let's pull up the internet. This is called Restream.io. So you can see there's what I'm doing right there. There's the different locations that we're going to. You can see that they're all online. Restream.io. If you have pen and paper, that's where you need to go, okay? For free, Restream.io will give you 2 different locations that you can stream to. Okay, and that's what you can see these buttons on. So I can see 8 of you are watching on the Party Liberation Front Facebook. 3 of you are on the Twitch. Nobody's watching on YouTube, sad panda. And 4 are on the Party Liberation Foundation. So that's pretty cool. Now, what's neat is that if any of you guys comment right now, any of those 4 different locations, Restream.io gives you a chat bot that will then make those different conversations talk to each other. And it lets me talk to all 4 of those places at once from a separate chat browser. So if I were to hit this little icon on the left, there's a chat app here, and when you click the chat app, it'll take you to where I can open the chat. And now when I say hello, it will go to everybody on all those different platforms. What's up, Reinhold? It's good to see you. We're talking about Restream.io right now and how powerful of a tool that is. In the bottom, you guys can't see it easily, but it's showing me there's a total of 13 people watching from all different platforms. And when I talk, I go to all those locations at once. So pretty cool. Asa, what's up, Sinatra? Hey, we're just getting into it. I was talking about how this is a pretty free-form situation. You see how Sinatra hollered on Twitch, and Reinhold's hollered from a different location, I think, but whatever. It shows me where it came from, and we can interact with all these different places at once. So Restream.io, very, very powerful. So all it is, guys, is you go there, and I'm looking at this chat at another place. You go there, you sign up. It's totally free. And you can route this to go to the locations you want. Now for free, you can only go to 2 places with no duplicate locations, I believe. So you can't go to like a double Facebook or a double Twitch. You can go to like Facebook, Twitch. Now when it's free, you also can only go to your Facebook personal profile, not a business page or an artist page. For 20 bucks a month, you can go to 3 locations with 2 duplicate destinations. And that means that you could go to a double Facebook like we are now, or to a double Twitch or a double YouTube, but you could go to 3 total locations with 2 being duplicate destinations. So that's pretty great. And then that does open up the feature to go to your business profile. This is so easy, but like it's such a big game changer. It makes everything seem super fancy. Restream.io, you download, you install, you sign up because it's all inside the web. But what this does for you, and we're going to be talking about a particular stream software here in a moment, but what this does for you is it gives you the key, which you can see here. It says streaming software. If I were to hit this, it would give me a key. Let's see if I can. Bam. Yeah, so here hidden behind this is the unique key that tells my stream software to go to wherever Restream is telling it to. So I simply sign up. I get my, we tell it where our destinations are, and we get that stream key and we put it in our stream software, whether that's OBS, which is the most common free source that people use that I hope I'm gonna convince you to go somewhere else today. And then there's what I use, and what we're gonna talk about is Streamlabs OBS, which is essentially the same thing with a more streamlined interface. So OBS is an online broadcasting system. It's been the classic. It's, to me, kind of like MS Paint versus, say, Photoshop when we're talking about Streamlabs OBS. And I'll show you guys that in a moment. But another sweet thing besides this chat box and all these different destinations and this one key to go to multiple places that you can provide to other people. Like say you're an event organizer and you're wanting to do an online festival or something, you could give them that stream key, all the different users, without necessarily giving them your login information, and their particular stream software of choice would then go to the locations you've asked it to, as well as have the chat box enabled, without that user having done any of this Restream work or have any of your login information to these different destinations. So that's a critical thing for me to suggest for you to be able to get your multiple content producers, if you're doing like an online festival or something, to be going to the same location without doing these raids and everything, is you simply just give them this stream key and everybody goes to that same location. But the other sweet thing is here in the title update, when you make a title update, when you make the description, all of that changes to all 4 of these places simultaneously. So again, you're not having to go to Twitch, to YouTube, to Facebook, to your other Facebook profile, change the name. It does it all for you. Basically, Restream talks to all of your different applications. So it is clutch. Once you have Restream, you're gonna go to Streamlabs OBS. Okay, Streamlabs OBS, luckily, over this past like 6 months, whatever, it wasn't very long ago that it was Mac capable as well. It used to be Windows only. I have it on my Mac and PC, and it is fantastic. It's also a phone app. I think Reinhold uses this for when he does his awesome DJ streams. And you can totally, if your phone is your best camera, and maybe it's like faster, more reliable than your computer even, you can use Streamlabs right off your phone. And I could definitely show you what you're gonna need. That's definitely the way to do it. Yeah, I can definitely show you the way to, you're gonna need an interface to talk with your phone to be able to get optimum quality. It's not necessarily always the way to do it. It's just the way to do it if you don't have a fast computer. Because if you have like a gaming computer, I can't tell you all the specs that you're gonna need on your gaming computer because I haven't studied it honestly. I just have a souped up computer. And my MacBook Pro is from 2012, but it can handle a lot. It's not gonna do everything I'm gonna do today with all the fire and the backdrop and all these different screen shares and green screen. The more stuff you're doing, the more intense it gets, especially when you're changing around layers and whatnot. Connor and Aiden say, what's up, what's up? Good to see you guys, good to see you. So we're talking about Streamlabs OBS. What you guys should know so far, if you just left the video right now, sometimes there's a lot of different stuff out there that's gonna try to get you to get it. You need to get Restream.io for multi-streaming capabilities and multiple chat box situation. You get Streamlabs OBS as what I think as the coolest software around. I should say it's the simple way, exactly. It's definitely the simple way. So the cool thing about Streamlabs OBS is everything I'm showing you, everything that we did with the first Fridays, the virtual Pyro Circus, and now is all done with the free app. The prime thing is just that they will walk, if you don't want to know how to build a website and kind of have like a social media to your own profile of a website external from Facebook and whatnot, the Prime membership will do that for you. They're going to give you some perks, but you don't need any of that if you just do it yourself. You hit download, it's free, you install it, and once you're in it, you're going to put your stream key that we got from Restream. So I'm going to take Streamlabs OBS and drag it over, at least I'm going to attempt to what you guys are screen sharing now. So you see the crazy mirror? Here we are inside of Streamlabs OBS. I'm gonna make this a little less crazy by dragging this up. All right, so you see this here in this bar here, this is where I am navigating what I'm showing you on screen. Like I can make the schedule appear by hitting these little eye icons. Things are muted out. If I wanted to do an explosion, I hit this button, bam, we got an explosion, baby. For instance, right? So, I have a video that's free, that's not behind the Patreon paywall, that walks through this software in depth. We're gonna come back to it, and I'm gonna show you how to do green screen and a little bit of navigation, depending on if we have time, but I wanna get back to the core fundamentals of how you're gonna get streaming. You get this program, you watch the video on how to do it, you do it. It's not that crazy. It's it's like any video game. You get your butt kicked at first until you figure out where the buttons are, and that's all it is, where are the buttons. All right, so let's go. I'm gonna do a little bit of PowerPointing as I talk about random subjects, random-ish, and I hope to see some of your commentary if you have any particular questions. So we've said software-wise, you get Restream.io, you get Streamlabs OBS. Now you need some equipment. All right, that's the thing. We need hardware. How are you gonna be able to hear and see what's going on? All right, so the simplest way is you got a camera on your microphone or your phone. You got a camera and a mic on your phone. That could create content. Depending on what kind of content you want to create, it's going to do it. It's going to do the video side well, a lot better than some of the USB cameras you would get out there. There's very nice cameras on your phone, but you're never going to get optimal audio from your phone. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, buddy. And so the only way you're going to get optimal audio on your phone is to get a sound card, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So here is just a quick shot of the cheapest way I would recommend you get going. Is you have, everything's a luxury. The most minimal is you got a camera on your computer, you got an internal microphone. You have a camera and a phone, mic on your phone. You can use those, but you're gonna suffer, particularly on the audio side, okay? So audio is gonna be the first thing we talk about. The USB mic is about a $150 mic for a very professional sound, but it has its drawbacks, okay? The benefit is that you plug that thing in, you're gonna have a good sounding mic. It's gonna sound all studio silky, right? But I'm in a game store right now. There's people behind me and stuff. I'm in this little closed off environment, my green screen, so I got my mask off. But yo, you would hear everything going on right now. The thing about a recording mic, a studio mic, is it's highly sensitive. So it's gonna pick up your air conditioner, your fan. If your room's hot and you got a fan on you, it's gonna be just in the audio, and if somebody's yelling or talking loud on the phone, or the cars go by, whatever, you're gonna pick that stuff up if the sensitivity's cranked up. The further away the mic you are, the more you gotta turn it up, right? The other thing is, because it's a USB microphone, you're tethered to the computer. You don't have a mic that works unless it's plugged into the computer. So that means you're only able to get as far away from the computer as the microphone, or you're gonna have it really cranked up as you talk within the room, and then the bigger the room is, the more like cathedral-like it gets, and it gets echoey, and it just doesn't sound good, right? Without doing some acoustical treatment. The thing about the necessity of especially when we talk about music, you need this USB mic because it's converting the audio into digital to get into the computer in a high quality way from the mic, but it also has a built-in sound card in it, okay, that allows it to process the audio into the computer in real time. let me show you this image, okay? This is a headphone jack and mic jack on a computer. The headphone jack, your built-in speakers, and your microphone jack, you can plug headphones into that, you can plug a mic into that if you get the right cable, and you can listen out of your computer speakers, but it's going to be limited by the default quality of your machine. And by default, these aren't meant for high performance. For instance, a CD, only puts out 44:1 16-bit quality, and we can record at a much higher rate, but your internal sound card doesn't put out or take in higher than that. So you're already tethered by your quality by that. But the other thing is, if we plugged a mic into this guy, and we tried to record over some drums or something, like record over a beat, some rap, it would be delayed most likely because the audio processing is at a lag time most often. The more action that's going on in the software, the more latency you can experience as your computer tries to process this audio. When you get a separate external sound card that is not connected to the internal headphone jack, mic jack, and speakers in your computer, it does all that processing in real time for you and lets you have up to practically zero latency or lag time, latency being the term. And so here's what an external sound card most typically looks like. The Scarlett series by Focusrite is fantastic. I recommend it. It's affordable for a lot of good quality metal chassis. It's beautiful. Okay, I think it's great. So you get yourself, now you can see here there's all these different jacks. So one thing when we just looked at that image, we had one mic jack, one headphone jack. Well, what if you want to plug in more than one mic? If you have multiple people you're trying to record simultaneously or stream with simultaneously, you're going to need more jacks to plug them in. And if we're using traditional plugs or cables like XLR cables for microphones or 1/4-inch cables for guitars, or coming out of the I was going to name more cables, but you get it, right? If we need to be able to plug things in with the type of cable that they use, and a standard input on your internal sound card or your computer is not going to allow that, these offer you the type of jacks you need to plug things in. Okay, so this is a hybrid jack. There's 3 holes there for the XLR 3-prong cable, and then you can plug a 1/4 right into the center. There's lights telling you when you're too hot, and a green light to tell you when you're good. A main volume knob, headphone volume knob, whatever. This expands if you want to plug in even more stuff. For every jack you have, that gives you a source that you can plug into your computer that will be converted to digital through the USB. Yep, getting nerdy fast, friends. I do have, like I mentioned, a 60-hour course where I talk in depth about everything audio. I'll try not to get too stuck on the sound card thing. All right, but the sound card is essential. This is what made the home studio recording possible. And this is for streaming too. So if you want to get audio into your computer with great quality, you're gonna get a USB mic, and that could work for you. Or you could get an external sound card to allow you to plug in multiple mics. Let me try to pull up an example image of why you don't want that. I thought I had me a good one here. Oh, dang it. Never mind. I had this guy chained to his desk. I went, aha, take this. See that guy? You want to be that guy? Come on. You don't want to be that guy? Look at him. He's chained to his desk. Corporate slave. Right? You don't want that. So that's what happens. Let that soak in when you have a USB mic or a USB camera. You're tethered to your computer, right? That's always going to be a thing when you have a USB device. Now, if you were to get wireless mics, that would give you the capability to be untethered with your audio, but you're going to need a sound card to plug into, because you're not going to plug one into the internal jack on your computer. You need an external sound card. Now, another thing with the USB microphone is you're tethered or chained from ever getting multiple mics. When you plug in the one USB mic, it is recognized as your sound card, and you can't plug in a second USB mic and have 2 sound cards running at the same time. One is the input source. So the moment you need more than one mic, you need a sound card. And I'm talking about this because it's so important not to have to buy twice, right? The reason probably a lot of you may have not got started yet, if that's the case, is because you're worried that you're gonna waste some money, right? And not knowing what to do is the issue. So I want to make it clear that if you can have the foresight to know, I'm never going to need anything besides one mic. I'm always going to have a controlled environment. I just want to talk, just me and maybe some other person, whatever. Then get a USB mic. That's fine. You don't need anything crazier. And there's nothing wrong with having an arsenal. As you grow as a content creator, you may have a USB mic for quick plug and play, remote stuff, and maybe you have the interface for other more advanced projects. Theater, untheater me, bro. I'm not sure, I don't get it. You will be able to watch this later, Matt, yes. Yes, you will. So, I'm laughing at Reinhold. Okay, so let me show you some more cool examples. Matt, thanks for tuning in for a moment there, man. When you guys are watching on the back end, I've failed to mention this, but it would be awesome if you can support in any way the Party Liberation Foundation to help make more of this stuff happen. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is a place to go donate if you want to help stuff happen, and it's big love. I don't have a donation bar or anything crazy because it's the most beneficial to PLF Foundation if you just go right to our PayPal with Skrilla at plfrva.com, and it's hugely appreciated to make all this great stuff happen. And we're a nonprofit just trying to put art in the world. Okay, so back at it. So we talked about an audio interface. You need one. They're like 150 bucks. You can get one for a minimum of 100 bucks. You could get a USB microphone. It's like 100 or 150 bucks. Hey Ryan, good to see you. So your first investment is you dropping $100, $150. Then you pick a microphone out. All right. Let me get to, so much to talk about. Let's look at a few pictures of microphones, right? There's a lot. In fact, that's not what we wanted. Let's hit this button. That didn't work at all. There's wireless, there's not wireless. There's condenser mics and there's dynamic mics. There's two types of mics. Show me a pile of mics. Doesn't want to show me a pile of mics? Show me that. Yeah, look at all those. You want all those mics in your face? You're gonna have to pick one, okay? And if you pick a mic that isn't wireless, it's going to have to plug in to the sound card that's plugged in USB to your computer. And thus, you're gonna be tethered. Right now, I'm not tethered. I can stand up and walk away, and it's because I have a wireless microphone. You're gonna add expense to do that, but you gotta be thinking ahead, what are you gonna be trying to create here? The content you are trying to make may require you to have a wireless mic. Now, a lot of what we're talking about, there's kind of two ways to go when you're talking about recording and when you're talking about streaming. Streaming adds an extra layer of necessity, while recording you can get away with a little bit of different stuff there. You could stop and go, for instance, and you can overdub your audio, and you could just have this. You could record everything, time lapse it, and just talk about what happened over the fact is an option. There's lots of ways to go. And guys, I'm gonna keep going and down a nerdy rabbit hole if you guys don't help give me some direction of what you're looking for. Yeah, tether, there you go. So if any of you have any particular needs that you're wanting to figure out, feel free to jump in as I keep going. Replying to Matt, yep, we'll have it. Are we going into mic talk? We're going into mic talk, dude. And basically, I just want you to know that there's studio mics and there's handheld mics that you're gonna see on stage. This is like a stage mic, all right? It's called a dynamic. And based on the way that its pickup pattern is, it's not intended to pick up everything around it. It only picks it up from the front of the microphone. And some of them have an even tighter pattern for noise rejection from outer sources. So you have to get it a little closer to your face. You have to kind of eat the microphone, which I actually have some mic etiquette imagery. We'll see if I can be so fancy. Yeah, check this guy out. So you gotta be kind of like this guy. All right, you have to have some etiquette to how you hold your mic, or else you're gonna have some craziness. So if you wanna be all over the place, you wanna be, doing, like let's say you're doing aerobics or something, you're not gonna be able to do it's not gonna be easy to do yoga or aerobics with a mic in your hand. You could, of course, when we're talking about optimal quality, right? You can always just turn on a mic inside your environment and have it pick you up from a distance, and people are gonna be able to hear you. But it's, the more large the room, the more you're gonna have issues with that, and there's acoustical treatment that you can put on the walls to help ease that kind of thing. Yeah, here's another one. So see this guy, he's making a choice between a dynamic or a condenser mic. If you were going to say have one mic like that, the snowball I showed you, or the Yeti, the USB mic I showed you in the beginning, it could pick up a whole crowd of people, and that mic would say be in the middle of everybody, and they would all talk and it would pick them up. right? But again, because of the sensitivity it has to pick everybody up, it can be too sensitive and it can cause issues. Let's say that you wanted to take this rig to a noisy environment, like a concert or something, or a con of some sort, and you wanted to interview people. If you had your laptop, you busted open in a loud environment and busted out your snowball mic or your USB microphone, it's going to cause, you're going to get all kinds of background noise. More on etiquette there. And that background noise is going to ruin the quality of your audio, and you're not going to be able to capture who you're trying to get there. And so you start to need a mic that doesn't pick up everything, and that's where those dynamic mics come in. Now, wirelessly is going to get a little expensive, but like this unit right here, I'm on a step above this, but this is like a $200 unit, $250. If you jump to like $300, you can get some Shure. I like Shure Sennheiser is going to be as name brand as you would necessarily need. There's multiple types of wireless. Oh God, we're talking about wireless now. I cover all this in the audio thing. See, we're getting stuck on audio. 7:30 already, guys. We're on audio. Oh man, we got to talk about green screen and stuff. Okay, so you get a wireless mic. There's 3 types of wireless. There's digital, VHF, and UHF, okay? Ultra high frequency is what you're looking for with some true diversity antennas, okay? If you get a mic that's too cheap, basically don't go cheap. You buy once, not twice. Here's like a mic that's gonna be like, look, I'm 50 bucks. Look at that, I'm 50 bucks. There's 2 mics for 50 bucks. We gotta pay attention to this VHF part. VHF just means it sucks, okay? It's on the same signals as like TV and radio and the cops going by. So you can pick up all kinds of stuff, but what usually goes down, imagine this is like AM radio versus FM radio, and it's worse than that. But imagine you're driving through the mountains and you're listening to only an AM station. There's gonna be like maybe one station you can listen to, whatever, right? Imagine a wireless unit, the quality of the wireless being kind of like good and bad radio and having good reception. If you pick an inexpensive microphone, not only are you worried about the quality of the mic, you're worried about the quality of the wireless reception. And what that means is that not only VHF is a bad signal band to be operating on, and not only are these cheap mics going to sound pretty bossy, kind of crappy, but also this thing has a single channel, and that's the most important thing, okay? Imagine here's another one that is just not good. Okay, look at that guy, it works. Well, it has one channel to operate on, okay? And if that channel is not a great frequency band for your particular zip code or where you're at, then you're going to have bad reception and dropouts, right? Imagine you're driving through the mountains and all of a sudden you lose your radio station. We've all experienced that. Well, usually you can start to turn the dial and find another one. If your wireless system only has one frequency band that it operates on, then there will be no other channels it operates on. So if it is a one-channel system, you are stuck and it is bad if it is bad. Where a multi-channel system will have multiple frequency bands that it can operate on. It'll optimize to find the best frequency band to work with, and you're able to have multiple mic systems that don't interfere with each other. So here in my studio, I use a dual wireless system that operates with 2 mics. It's by Shure, and a dual wireless system by Shure is about $500, $550. That gets you 2 wireless mics with like 16 channels, and you're bound to find 2 good channels that don't interfere with each other with that much of a range band. There's also range bands that actually become illegal as there's only so much airspace, and eventually things go away. Anyways, conversation, right? So you get a USB mic, you get a sound card, and you plug in wireless mics or handheld mics, and finally, just a quick shout, if I say finally, there's so much. Another thing you can do is like we were talking about being remote, right? Let's say you're at that festival, you're at that con, and you're trying to record somebody, do a field recording. You're busting out your laptop, running on battery powered, using your USB powered interface with a dynamic mic. You're holding one of those handheld stage mics so you don't pick up all that background noise from the condenser. Well, that's a pain in the butt. Another thing you can do is you can get a thing called a digital recorder or a handheld recorder, okay? It looks a little something, yeah, like check that out, bam. That's a handheld recorder there, okay? Note that's also called a digital recorder. You hold it in your hand, it's battery powered. Usually goes like 8 to 12 hours depending on the quality that you're recording at. You can monitor what's going on in your headphones, and you have built-in microphones. So these are built-in condensers. Once again, that high quality, studio style sensitivity, but you're able to have meters that you can turn down the gain live, so that if it is a loud environment, you can adjust the input volume so that it's not clipping and it doesn't sound distorted and bad. So this will give you great demo style recordings at a band practice, or if you're trying to do a field recording. So if you had something like this, then you would be able to record more remotely. But the issue is, because of these sensitive condenser mics, if there's still a lot of background noise and you're trying to have a conversation with one person to another, this is totally going to get interference. But what you can do is, if you get the right kind of caliber handheld recorder, then it has jacks on it, just like our sound card did, the external sound card. And now we can plug microphones and guitars and things directly in, bypass the microphones that are on this handheld recorder, and get a great quality recording. Now we can plug in a handheld mic that doesn't pick up all the background noise and be able to get a much proper interview. See, like in this image here. So right now he has a mic, he's out in the middle of nowhere, and he has that probably plugged into his pocket where a digital recorder is waiting and capturing all this perfect audio without picking up all the background noise. So a handheld recorder, that's also a way to just be recording when you're camping. Do some quick demos. There's another deal where, like, this is how we recorded before computers. We recorded on hardware digital recorders, or old school 8-tracks or whatever. So when you have multiple inputs like this on either your sound card or your digital recorder, there's a point to being more than just plugging in everything that you want to. The other thing is that it's giving you multi-track recording capability. This is awesome for recording. How much does it cost? Well, the digital recorder, that's roughly a $200 investment. There's always cheaper, guys. But the ones that, like, $100, you can get one for $100. You can get one for $60, $70, and it's gonna be a decent field recorder. But if you get in that $150 to $250 range, then you're gonna get the inputs. And this is, in technology world, it's all about foresight. At first, you're gonna say, I don't ever see myself recording a guitar or a handheld mic directly into my interface, so I'm going to spend $100. Well, then that $100 becomes wasted when down the road you need that capability. You're advertising that you can record and shit, and then you don't have the tool you need, and you got to buy a whole nother recorder. So get ones that have inputs on them, and you're going to be spending, it's about the same amount as the interface. Now, here's another way to save costs. A dual effect here is that if you were to get some of these, like the Zoom recorders, Tascam and Zoom are two brands that I would recommend. And let me find my file folder here. Here we go. So check out this guy. This is the H4n. This is one that I personally use. It has the inputs you need down below, and here's the piece here. Now, this thing, you can plug it in USB, and have it act as a audio interface. So the same way we were talking about sound cards just a minute ago. So the thing in front of you, is both a portable recorder, and it also a USB sound card. Okay, you just plug it in USB, it does the conversion that you need built into it, and you're able to record multi-track directly into your computer. So it has both the capability of recording on its built-in condenser mics and be a high-quality mic right there on the recorder. It has the ability to be a USB interface for you to plug in other direct sources like microphones, and it also has the capability of being portable. So some of you that really want a one-stop shop economic buy, it might be best to get the digital recorder. Maybe down the road you're going to want the less hassle and just having the ease of an interface plugged in, but they essentially do the same thing. Another concept is you can buy you may have this already. Another deal is you can have a mixer. Okay, there's a traditional PA mixer, or something you'd see at a live concert. Everybody plugs in the things that they need to plug in to be heard out of the speakers, and it's giving us that, right? You could take the outputs. You could take one of the additional outputs and go into the digital recorder and be able to record what's coming through the mixer in a nice clean way, or you can plug into the audio interface and basically record everything as a master track. Let's see if I can show you this image. Yeah, bam. Here's an example of this. See how this Tascam is sitting right next to this mixer? It's both going out live to the audience, and he's getting a nice perfect recording as he goes into the digital recorder there. So it's not capturing what's in the room via a microphone. It's not using the mics on the thing. It's using the direct inputs to get a perfect stereo recording. So if you were, say, worked at a venue or whatever, and if you were running sound, you could record everybody's gig by just simply plugging in from your mixer to this interface. Or you could spend a good chunk of change This would be a lot more, but it may be in the end even better. And you can just buy a multi-track recorder built into your mixer. And that looks like something like this thing. All right, this is the Behringer X16, I think. X32 compact, it just looks small. But see, it looks like a space station. It's basically a computer built into your mixer. And this is a full-blown, it can work as an audio interface. Sometimes you'll see it in the studios. You plug this into your computer via USB or FireWire, and you're able to have everything that you plug into the mixer go to a separate track in the software. Multi-track recording, like if you want to record an entire orchestra, you're going to need to be able to record, and like let's say you wanted to get, having multi-track recording gives you the capability of mixing down later the individual components that were recorded. If we just plugged our big mixer that didn't have multi-track recording into a recording device, then we just get this one big master track. All the drums and guitars and vocals are all on one track. But if we have multi-track capability, now we can edit the cymbals and the kick and the snare and the vocals from one another and the bass. And if we need a little less bass or a little bit more, we can turn all that stuff up and down in post individually because we've multi-track recorded. And that's why you need an interface that has multi-track capability, and that's where an audio sound card or a mixer with an audio sound card built in comes into play, okay? And that's all foresight, right? Do you start out with, you have to think about how many things are you going to input and how many things do you want to have multi-track recording of, okay? It becomes a lot more important in the music field. Not so much in streaming. Whenever I stream and I got my dual wireless going on or I got 4 people talking, I don't need to mix that later. I'm doing it live especially. I just have it go into the mixer and into the mixer into the interface. So it's just one master track for all my audio, even though it has multiple sources. Okay, heady. That was just audio. Let's go over to video because it ties in pretty easy to the same concept. Because what we talked about is being tethered or chained to the computer, right? And we don't want to be stuck to the computer as much as we can help it. For visual aid, yeehaw. In order to plug into the computer with cameras, we can do the same thing, except with audio, we could only plug in one USB microphone. It recognizes the one audio input. With USB cameras, I believe you can plug in multiple USB cameras and not have the same kind of interface or interference. So you actually can do that. But let's hit some buttons here and look at some things. So there's lots of kinds of cameras. All right, example, more than one. These are camcorders. There's like a handheld video recorder that's built, and features are built around video. Where there's also the standard handheld camera or DSLR. And this is the point and shoot style camera. And when you start looking at what kind of camera do you want for streaming, you're gonna find people using that terminology of point and shoot DSLR, this style, or a camcorder. And some people might be watching this for the sake of recording bat reps. You guys saw that I'm partnered with a game store, and what I do almost every day is I film battles on a tabletop. I do tabletop wargaming for a miniature game called Warhammer 40K, as well as several others. And I have an example of that for a minute, but I'll show you that in a moment. But the handheld cam is the typical way of recording a board game, right? You have it in your hand, you're filming what's going on, and you have mics on. You can see in this case, there's even mics like on the camcorders picking up high quality recording directly into the microphone. A mic solution is important. I had a picture that showed you how you can plug those digital recorders directly onto the cameras as well. Let's see if I still got that digital recorder. Hate to see it. Oh, there it is. Check it out. Bam. So remember that recorder we just talked about? Well, here's them getting that audio in real time at the same time they film into their camera. So let's say that you're at a concert or something and you're making a music video and you want to record the live session of the music. Well, here they are plugging their instruments directly into the hardware recorder and then having that output into the camera to record directly to the video, and additionally being able to record directly onto the digital recorder as well, where you can edit and post and whatever. But basically, you got to have a way to record good audio. You got to have a way to get it into your camera or into the computer, and a interface is in play. And what's fun is that same thing goes for video. You either just get a USB camera and call it a day. And the crazy thing is like, you could try to spend as much money as you want on a USB camera. Like, I'll take the nicest thing. And they don't get much crazier than $100. I mean, maybe a little more, but like, those digital recorders are universal. Yeah, so you spend all the money in the world to try to get the best USB camera you can, and you're not gonna be able to spend too much money because you get premium quality or what they offer for very little price. Just the technology is cheap, okay? Let's go back to my resources here. I'll show you what I mean. So a USB camera, here's some pictures. Yeah, so like here's several. Logitech is like one of the leading brands for a nice camera. The C922X was the #1 camera in 2019 for a USB camera. $100, you know. The feature that you want on a camera is 1080p 60 frames per second, okay? There's 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second. At 60 frames per second is what you want to capture quality movement. When someone waves their hand and you don't want it to be like blurry or glitchy or whatever, you're gonna want 60 frames per second. As well as sometimes, it would not matter. The other thing too is that if you want to like time-lapse video, that's another moment that you might need 60 frames per second, or there'll be less information for you to time-lapse and it'll be more jittery and chunky, okay? So typically at that $100 mark, you can get that 1080, 60 frames per second. Sometimes you have to record at 30 frames per second when at 1080p, or go to 720 quality and go to to get to 60. When we talk about these qualities, like on an audio, it's 44:1, 16-bit, or this 30 frames per second at 1080p versus 60. I imagine it kind of like VHS to DVD to Blu-ray. Right? It's easy. We've all kind of seen like the 3D IMAX style quality. You know, things can look nicer, things can sound nicer, they can have a more richness, a higher quality. And these are the specs that we're talking about, is separating yourself from a grainy, glitchy, not as good look to a pristine, higher caliber, crisp visual. And that's all dictated by you're only strong as your weakest link, right? And your camera is what's going to be a big component to that. Okay, now also though, you'll notice that the more you're beefing up the quality of your video, the more that your in-game user could have, like if somebody was forced, you can accidentally have your stream settings to be forced to like 1080, 60, and somebody might be trying to watch on their phone or something. Usually, you know how like we'll choose the auto quality on like a YouTube video or something. You want them to be able to watch it in lower qualities, because some people, if your video just spins as they're trying to process it to watch it from like a bad reception on their phone, they won't watch it in the first place. So sometimes people watch it in lower quality just to visualize it anyways, and on a small screen it doesn't matter. Whatever. Okay, talking about a lot of nerdy randomness there. I need you guys' questions to not keep me not going on tangents about but here's the main thing I'm getting at here. You got USB cameras, which makes you tethered to the computer, or you're still tethered with this other concept if you want to stream, but not if you want to record. So there's kind of two ways to talk about this, all right? So I use GoPros myself, all right? They record, if you use a camera like the DSLR, the point and shoot, or the camcorder, or a GoPro, they can record directly onto the device. They record onto their memory card. You can put that memory card in your computer. You can edit it after the fact. So you're not tethered to your computer. You can record anywhere you want. Look at that guy, he's getting it done. You know, he's recording stuff. And he's in a swamp recording stuff. He's serious, okay? If you want to be portable and able to do that kind of thing, then you're gonna need a camera that isn't a USB camera. So it's good to think about that ahead of time if that's the kind of thing you wanna do. So maybe you're okay with spending, like, I'm using multiple cameras. When I film my battle reports, when I do the virtual cyber circus, I'm using 4 cameras. Now, because of my financing options, I used the credit card to buy GoPros because they were offered from the place I could buy things from. Looking back, I would have bought at least one USB camera, because there's nothing wrong with USB cameras. Unlike a USB mic, you're really tethered with a USB mic. But if you're using multiple cameras, you can definitely add on with USB cameras for things that don't have to look as nice. Let me show you what I mean real quick. We're gonna do something we'll do a visual thing that's fun for a second instead of all this talking. All right, so multiple cameras, right? You got one looking at me right now. You're looking at another source as you look at my desktop. Well, I have other cameras plugged in. Let's see if they call me a liar. And button. That is the overhead camera looking down at my table right now. If I were to stand up, I'd go wave my hand over there. You could see my hand. That would be a board that I'd be playing a game on, and people would be watching me play that game. Well, I also want them to see me roll dice. So here is my dice tray. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you some green screen technology, okay? So you're looking at this dice tray, and if I were to put dice in there, then you would see them. What I'm gonna do though is I wanna show you, I'm gonna crop it real quick, all right? So I'm cropping it. And now you can see that it's just the tray itself. Now, if I were to use green screen technology, I could make it disappear. Let's hide the overhead for a second, like this. And now you can see my settings. So here's me with the crop. I'm gonna uncrop it, blop, you can see the whole thing. I'm gonna crop it with my pre-made settings. Here's the crop settings here. When I click the chroma key is the green screen terminology. I'm turning on the chroma key. And that says that when I see solid green, I make it disappear. I hit that button, now you don't see it anymore, but it's still there, okay? So I'm gonna go to my overhead now. This is for the people that wanna see bat reps. Plow, so there's the overhead. I'm gonna stand up. I can't hear, yeah, I'm gonna stand up and I'm going to, you might be asking why I'm wearing headphones. It's to get into meditative state, that's why. All right, I'm gonna walk over here and I'm gonna roll some dice in there. Yeah, check it out. See how my hand just comes out of nowhere? Pretty sick. So this right there, that is how the trick, I'm using green screen tech to show dice from thin air. And I think it's pretty cool. It's something unique we do on our channel, and I wanted to share that for other people that might be trying to do the same. What program am I using? This is Streamlabs OBS. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some things here. We're gonna turn off the overhead. We're gonna turn off the green screen dice tray. Cool. Let's talk more about the program and have some more fun. Now again, after this video, if you want, I have a total a good condensed edited video that shows you how to walk around inside this program. But right now you're seeing me looking at my own screen, and I want to show you more about some green screen tech. So let's look at me. I'm green screened right now, right? So I'm going through my menu here. I'm looking for where the hell that is. I think I put it right here. And buttons, main GoPro, okay? I'm gonna click on that bad boy and go to my filters, which is effects, and I'm gonna turn off the chroma key. Blam, there's the green screen. Let's turn off the crop, okay? Not seeing too much there, but there's my backdrop. I'm in a place. I'm in a normal place. I just got a big curtain behind me. But when I hit the chroma key button, it goes away like that. And that's all the green screen is. And now you can see that my backdrop is transposed behind me, you know? It's super simple. You just literally go to your camera, you add the chroma key feature, you maybe do some small tweaks to get a little bit better resolution, and away you go. So hit the button, good to go. I got a little crop on this thing, I put some color correction, that's it. Green screen is awesome. It allows you to do the coolness like that guy, right? So I see in this, you see the top down, the left and right, bottom left and right cameras, and then I'm superimposed over all that with a green screen camera as my image is in the middle, and I'm given the rocker sign there. Fun stuff. Okay, my mind is everywhere. What time is it? It's 7:51. There's 9 minutes if this is an hour long. It's time to ask questions. I've just been raging, friends. That green screen dice trick, oh no, okay, what is this sorcery? What program are you using? Okay, let's recap for a second. If you're just tuning in, there's 16 of you out there? Okay, you need to get Restream.io. Restream.io is a multi-streaming program that'll let you go to multiple sources like we are right now. It'll also have a chat box that'll make everyone communicate with one another and let you communicate to everyone from one source. Then you take the stream key that you get from Restream.io and you put it inside of your stream software of choice. I recommend Streamlabs OBS. Streamlabs OBS, that's what we're using. Streamlabs OBS is free. Everything you're seeing me do is free. Restream.io is free, but if you want to do more with it, it's 20 bucks a month and up. Okay, so you get Restream.io, you get Streamlabs OBS, and at minimum, you get yourself a USB camera and a USB microphone, is what I would recommend. Okay, you can use just the mic and the camera that's in your computer or your phone. And for the sake of, we talked about audio interfaces. I think a lot of you might end up using your phone. Who knows? I know Reinhold does and has great success. I want to show you like a iRig recorder. Let me show you this real quick. This is something, there's lots of different versions of this. This is a nice one right here, IK Multimedia. Let's see where we go here. Guitar Center. All right, 150 bucks. You see that guy? That thing plugs into your phone. All right, the real nice ones, just like how you can plug in, ideally, if you were gonna get the highest quality device to plug into your tablet or phone, it's gonna be one that plugs into the charge port. If you're plugging into the Thunderbolt connection, that's actually a digital connection, and it's gonna be actually way better signal quality, less outside interference and noise, and a better latency. So you'll notice the price tier, some will be $50 to $60 to $100. Ooh, lights, good one, Snigrot. $50 to $60 to $100, but ones that are more like this one are gonna be ones that plug in directly to the charge port on your phone. And you can get Streamlabs OBS as a free app on your phone. Oh, I know it's Connor. This is super cool, thank you, Snigrot, my good friend. Let me show you things. My mind went back to this. Look at this picture. Look at it. You see that thing? That is a HDMI and USB port on this camera. If you use a point and shoot camera that is not a USB camera, the most essential thing is that it has an HDMI output, because you have to go out of that HDMI output into a capture card. Okay, so I didn't get to that part, I need to. I'm glad I remembered. So we talked about how an audio interface gets all that information from audio or analog into digital into your computer. Well, a capture card does the same thing for video. So here's the look at a capture card. I'm gonna go ahead and make this less crazy. I'm gonna take this, bring it over here, and go like this, blam. This is one of the ones I use, okay? There's two of them here. This is a Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle USB 3.0 device. This comes in Thunderbolt, I think Firewire, and USB. This is great for people that don't have Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is a Mac connection. Now, when you're looking at interfaces, let me show you a Mac one, bam. This is a Thunderbolt device, again by Blackmagic. Blackmagic is an excellent professional company. You'll see that it has an HDMI input on it. We were just talking about how your camera needs to have an HDMI output. Think of that, if you're holding the camera, it has to get into the computer to stream, like the one I'm on right now. It has to be into the computer. And so it needs a capture card to plug in. Not only does it give you an HDMI input, not an output like what goes to your monitors, your screens, but an input to receive. Not only does it have that, but it handles the processing of taking that video, that high data of the video, and making it so it's something that the computer can interpret and go to your stream software. When you have these devices plugged in, your stream software recognizes it, and this is how you add more cameras. These don't have multiple jacks on them very often, and if they do, it's just more money than you should just buy individual ones anyways. But for every camera that you plug in, you need a capture card to go with it. So I have 4 cameras running, I have 4 capture cards. Look at this image. Let's make it bigger. It might be a little blurry. So this is basically, the other thing this capture card comes into play as, if you're a PC video gamer and you want to stream your PC, you can do it just like I'm doing right now. The zeros and ones head there, that's your video game. You literally just hit screen capture, you point a camera at you, and you can play video games on your computer and show that. If I wanted to host a video party and I was on a Zoom chat and I wanted to share what's going on to everyone, then it's just screen capture. I'm just capturing the screen. But if you have a outside source that's not in your computer, like a Xbox or a PS4 or whatever, you need to be able to plug that into your computer. And once again, you need an HDMI input to do that, which is what the capture card does. So in this example image, that's what they're doing, is they're showing you how you can plug in all of your different types of devices, whether it be gaming consoles or cameras, and get them into your computer using this capture device. Here's another Sometimes it doesn't want to be my friend. There's a good one. Yeah, camera into capture device into computer. Voila, you get to see what's going on. The only way you're gonna have a camera capable of doing that is if it has an HDMI output and has a live viewing mode, which most do. GoPros, you're gonna find there's like $200 GoPros and like that $300 to $400 price point GoPro, and the difference often is the HDMI output jack. So if you wanna record a GoPros and have that benefit of this like industrial camera you can go underwater with, whatever, but also be able to stream with, you're gonna need to buy capture cards. And you're gonna need to buy GoPros of the caliber that have the jacks on them. 2 minutes, can we do it? We gotta talk about lights and stands. Just know you need capture cards, and the quality of the capture card is going to dictate the speed and quality of your recording. Just like the USB cameras can sometimes be 1080p 30 frames per second or 720p 60 frames per second, so can these capture cards. You'll notice here I have the Intensity Shuttle and I have the Intensity Pro 4K. While I have 4 capture cards plugged in, 2 of them are the external ones plugged into the USB 3.0, and the others are PCI cards. These are expansion cards that go into desktop computers. And in desktop computers, you can install these additional pieces of hardware that connect to your motherboard, and you're able to plug in cameras directly to your computer without an external source and without taking up USBs and firewires and Thunderbolts. But the beauty of that is that it's going to give you higher quality. These things record at better quality. They give you 1080p 60 frames per second. Well, the Intensity Shuttle only does 30 frames per second at 1080p. So I have to decide out of my 4 cameras which ones to plug into the PCI cards to give me a 60 frames per second versus which ones I plug into the computer. Here's an example of what it looks like in my computer. In the back here, there was these empty slots. I installed the PCI cards into these slots connected to the motherboard, which this is what they look like inside the machine, and there it is into the motherboard. And this now gives me the HDMI inputs to allow me to plug in outside sources, whether that be your video games or that be your cameras, okay? Checking the chat. What brand of capture card? That's Black Magic Design. They're fantastic. I wish they were paying me because they are good, and I'm gonna say it. Yeah, this is way cool, good. Okay, back to it. So we need to talk about accessories, and then this will be relatively closed out. Again, I want you to watch my free video on everything on how to walk through the streaming software, because I think that's gonna be clutch for you. I want to cover as much as I could in the fundamentals here. And if you really wanna dive in, Warp Charge Gaming Patreon, I have a 5-course series, including that free one, that walks you completely through all the accessories you need, all things audio, all things video, and all things software, both editing and streaming. Streamlabs OBS is our stream software. What I like to edit with, and what I'm gonna recommend, you're gonna need to make thumbnails and like flyers for your content. So, you know, whether that's an album cover or whatever, you need to be able to make custom art. And that either is going to require you to be involved with a digital designer that can do that for you, that you're going to have on hand, or you're going to need to learn how to do that yourself. There's a huge conversation just in Photoshop alone, or just like ways to produce this kind of stuff. I would recommend that you get a digital designer to make you like a master thumbnail that you're then able to apply overlays or text on top of that you can change in and out. So for each like episode of something that you create, you continue that series using the same backdrop flyer, but you edit out the different text that is on it. What is the link to Patreon? I will find it right now because I appreciate that question. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Warp Charge Gaming, I'll just type in Patreon. Okay, so yes, that is good stuff. We're about to talk about accessories, maybe go 5 minutes over, and then we're gonna do this thing. Now, you guys really don't need to go, you know, you can go to my Patreon, but what I'm really trying to do is get PLF Foundation some jack, because I wanna help everybody do all these other events going on. See on screen there, the yoga with Zoe, the fan choreography coming up, introduction to DJing, what is that, painting plants? That's awesome. I wanna know all about that. Aerodynamics, spinning spinners. I wanna help Foundation help those people you know, receive compensation and have us continue to do this for a long time to come. Right now, we got this scheduled till the end of the year. Do we keep going at the beginning of the year? It depends on how much we can afford it. We need your help. So donate to PLF Foundation before you go to my Patreon. If you direct message me and you watched all the way till right now, I will just give you the link to the videos, okay? I'd rather you, if you show me a screenshot of you supporting PLF Foundation, that'll work. I don't need it to my Patreon right now, guys. Just go to PLF Foundation. I love you for it, but I will send you the link anyways. And the old chat. I think that will take you there. Okay, friends, so finally, accessories. All right, real quick, what about lighting, right? Well, the deal is, it's super easy. One, look at this, a green screen chair. You could do what I'm doing right now without having this big thing I got behind me. You just put it on your chair, right? That's for video gamers. Green screen tech rules, but your green screen is not gonna be that great if you don't have some decent lighting. If you're in a dark room, it's just not gonna work. It's gonna look super blurry and real bad. So you need a way to put some lights on the thing. Let me find the button. Nope. Accessories. Here we go. I'm getting somewhere. Here we go. And buttons. All right, this is easy. If you just type in like green light or green screen kit, lighting kit into Amazon, that's where I've gotten my stuff. And it's been like, I think this package, like, it'll blow your mind. You can get something like this for like, I don't know. There's sales and stuff. I feel like I got it for like $100, but I think they can get upwards like a couple hundred. But once you get your lights, they come with the stands, they come with your green screen. You can buy just the green screen for like $50. You can buy just the stands for like $50. It's like $150, you know. Yeah, you just go there. So much information, sir, so good. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm trying, there's so much to talk about. That's why it took 60 hours to make the 5 videos that talk about everything I'm talking about right now. And I'm trying to shove it all into 1 hour, and I'm using the same visual aids that I used to make that, and it's kind of working. Good times. But check it out, when I showed you guys my stream rig, here's the truss I got, right? All you gotta do is go to guitarcenter.com and type in lighting truss. It's like the LS77B0, I think is the model number. Let me show you this. Yeah, there's my setup. See that thing right there? That is me just taking this and brutalizing it, chopping it up to make it like this. I didn't chop anything. I'm not handy at all. I just unscrewed stuff and I made it work, right? But you can mount, this is a lighting truss for DJs, and you can mount whatever you want with it, and you mount it with these C-clamps, all right? So to find the C-clamps, what's cool is I use this coupling here to couple to the trussing, and then these bolts here, you can actually just put the bolt going the other way, and you can hook the lights right up to it. You can take these lights and not put them on these little tripods, but connect them to the bolts on these clamps. And another visual of what that's like, bam. And if I were to zoom that in, see if I can show you guys anything here. Playing, live. Yeah, so up there in these like holes, like I have my GoPro, and there's a center post in the middle of this bar, and there's a GoPro mounted to that with a C-clamp. And then I just got bolts sticking up through these holes in this bar, because it's meant to have all these holes on it so you can attach things to it. And I mount my other lights to it. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3, Z. That makes all the sense. Bam. Yeah, so that's my spot where I'm at every day. It's where I'm at right now. And it's all possible with using clamps and lights. Gotta have lighting, and doing the virtual First Friday stuff. If you guys haven't checked that out, go to the Party Liberation Foundation YouTube page and check out the previous 3-hour streams we did for the virtual cyber circus. I think they're super cool, and they only escalate. The second one is even crazier than the first one as far as the depth. And then you can actually check out a third video of me and Bowman doing Fahrenheit from the Fahrenheit Stream Edition, a flow festival that goes down every year. That just happened. And then coming up in October, Carnival of Five Fires is going down, and I'm super excited to be helping to do that. We got some amazing talent that'll be announced very soon, so make sure to be in contact with the Party Liberation Foundation, Party Liberation Front, social medias to get to see that announcement. And then every other Wednesday, we're gonna be doing some stuff. What do you think of 360 VR cameras? I think it's dope. I think it's next level, and I think it's where things will also go. I mean, hell, Burning Man, Burning Man couldn't happen this year, and there's an amazing virtual environment to hang out in Burning Man. I know that when the quarantine first hit, I was doing a lot of virtual reality tabletop wargaming using Tabletop Simulator. And that's another thing where if you go into VR land, like, it's just another depth. And, I could totally see us in the future not just having a green screen backdrop, but having a virtual VR type world to hang out in. I could be, it's easy enough with a proper computer to just like get set up in Second Life or some virtual environment and be DJing and creating things that way, and screen capturing it and streaming that content places. The sky's the limit, I think we're there. I'm gonna take a quick shout. So just a final shout out about accessories. Something you may not think about is that you're gonna need a lot of different ways to charge your devices, and just a big necessity. If you use the USB capture cards like I was showing you, the Intensity Shuttle 3.0, you're gonna need a USB hub. That's a powered USB hub. Not just a USB hub that plugs into a USB jack and expands your ports, but one that's plugged into the wall outlet and getting individual power, not just powered from the USB port. And that's the only way that you're gonna make sure that USB powered devices are getting the optimum kind of power they require to be able to perform the way they do. If you try to plug a Intensity Blackmagic 3.0 shuttle into just a standard USB jack, even if you just plug into just a jack without a hub, oftentimes, in order to save power on laptops or just the nature of business here, your internal jacks that are on your computer are more consumer level, not professional tier, and they don't produce the amount of power that a device truly requires to be able to perform the way it does. So when you get a powered USB hub, one that plugs into the wall, now you're getting optimum power to every USB jack that's provided, and you're making sure that your USB powered devices operate. So it's essential. If you're using GoPros, you're going to need replacement GoPro batteries, even though you can just plug them in USB and have them charging while recording. But if you're doing remote work, you're going to be able to need to change out the batteries, right? You're going to need, if you're using wireless microphones, you're going to need rechargeable wireless microphone batteries. Seems obvious, but these are expenses. If you want to have multiple people listening on headphones, you're going to need a headphone amp, potentially, so that everybody can have individual volume control and be able to receive the optimum amount of volume to actually hear stuff. Because if you take a splitter and put it on a mic headphone jack, if you split that signal too many ways, you start to lose volume, and people might not even be able to hear, and maybe people have different preferences, and a headphone amp is going to allow you to do that. Video is big. You're probably going to need an external hard drive. Now, when you're streaming, all of this automatically gets recorded. This is going to be on Twitch and on YouTube immediately when we're done. It's on our Facebook, so you can just go back and watch this. You can share it however you like, and so I don't need to save this on my computer. But when you are recording video, it does take up a lot of space. You need to think about that. Obviously, you're going to need a good set of cans, headphones. Don't think you don't. And that's the general gist. I think we went there, friends. I think we went there. Should we do some explosions? Let's do a little of this. Just do a little kaboom, right? A little bit of fire whoosh. Yeah. Feels good. I think we got there. I will take questions for 2 or 3 minutes. I've lost volume without amps. I didn't know that. Yep, you need headphone amps. Yeah. 2 or 3 minutes for questions, anybody. Thank you for joining. It's been awesome. Do appreciate you. Make sure you tune in the 16th for some yoga with Zoe. Fan choreography's going down. It's been an awesome time. Yeah, you're thinking? I figured if you had any more questions, you'd ask by now. Ladies and gentlemen, we got there. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I can't wait for the next one, and I hope to see you friends here on the back end. Again, if you want the entire course that I've done, you can either go to my Patreon, which I've made a link in the comments, or preferably you will go to the, make a small donation to the PLF Foundation, and I would be happy to send you all 5 videos with a screenshot that you donated to skrilla@plfrva.com, shown in the bottom right of the screen. Y'all have been awesome. It made me feel good for being here. Explosion time. We out of here. 12:16, can't wait. Awesome. Y'all keep taking fun seriously. I'll catch you next time.